Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today we have 6 hearings with a couple where dad is trying to get a new parenting plan put in place because 2 of their 3 children have been living with him full-time since last year, but the parenting plan they have now gives mom full custody and dad only has visitation. Mom claims she's in agreement with this change, but she gets argumentative with the judge when he tries to help her, and in the end she curses at him and bounces from the hearing. The judge is angry about this and ends up giving dad full custody. Mom will eventually return and claim she's serious about her recovery now and wants to know what she has to do to see her children. She claims she can't talk to them due to a restraining order, but this case has so many of them, she isn't sure which one it is. And that just scratches the surface in this messy case. Let's see what the judge thinks.
Okay, this is cause number 22-3-5808. I'll ask if Marcus Ruby is on the line. He's in the court. Ms. Ruby, come on up and take a seat. Either side where you no preference, and just make sure you're positioned well in front of the microphone. You can slide it in front of you, and doesn't amplify, it just captures your voice. All right. Perfect. Good to have you here. And then I'll ask if Samantha Granzo Carranza is on the line.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Okay, welcome to you. All right. So we're here for several different things. It looks like Mr. Ruby has filed a motion related to a motion to transfer the case to mediation, a motion for a temporary restraining order to become permanent, and a motion related to a temporary parenting plan and the like. And it looks like their service was effectuated based on the affidavit of service. And I'll just—
Your Honor, the only thing that I received from Kalama PD was the hearing notice. I have no other court paperwork in regards to this.
Okay.
Just old ones.
Messages saying that she received the restraining order paperwork.
Okay. Let me double check and see what's in the file, and then I'll tell you what it shows. So I see there's a declaration of service that looks like David Kearney of Kalama PD filed. He said that he served a notice of hearing and an immediate restraining order and a hearing notice to Ms. Granzo Carranza. And I think that's probably what you're talking about, Ms. Granzo. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The paperwork that I was handed, though, the immediate restraining order ex parte part is crossed out. So it's just it says and hearing notice. He said to disregard the immediate restraining order ex parte part. So I was really confused. I'm still really confused as to what it entailed. I just looking it over, it goes back to the restraining order that he had put in place back in 2002 or 2022, excuse me, that was dismissed after the 1 year of it being in place.
So, Ms. Granzo, I appreciate that input. Let's before we go further, I just want to make sure we're clear on the issue of notice and service. So I appreciate your input. And then Mr. Ruby had some input. Can you repeat that?
Repeat what I just said?
Yeah, yes, please.
Oh, that I have messages saying that she got all of that. And then, yeah.
And those messages came from whom or
Samantha.
where? From where?
Samantha.
Oh, okay. All right. So, okay. So what the court does, the court relies upon just any documents that's officially filed with the court. And so the one document that I have is, so there's a docket notice that Mr. Ruby caused to be filed, which says, hey, on the 28th of February, we're going to have a hearing. And we're going to talk about the parenting plan, the restraining order, and mediation. So he filed that. And so then I looked to, and then he also had a lot of other different documents. He filed a motion, a declaration in support of a parenting plan, a motion for a temporary family law order and restraining order. And so those documents were filed back on February 13th. And then I see the return of service, which would be the individual who takes those documents and then serves or gives them to the other party, in this case, Ms. Granzo. So this Officer Kearney says, I'm a police officer. I served the court documents to Ms. Granzo on February 20th at 10 o'clock in the morning. And he lists the documents. It was a temporary protection order and a hearing notice and a notice of hearing which is probably the same thing as that he said before, hearing notice, and then an immediate restraining order, the ex parte, and then a hearing notice, which kind of sounds like the same thing. The hearing notice was mentioned a couple of times. What he doesn't mention or does not include in that is the motion that you filed regarding the mediation. That was not served in your declaration, basically where you're giving your explanation of what's happening with the kids. And then also your motion for temporary family law order, which is a 7-page document where you give some more explanation. That was not included either. It wasn't served. And so sometimes I'm not sure sometimes what happens with service. Sometimes something gets lost in the communication, and officer only serves certain documents, but not all of the documents. So in order to have a fair hearing, both sides need to know what the other side is saying. So you've kind of given your piece, said what you need to say and what you want to say, and then now Ms. Granzo hasn't read what you've had to say. So if she doesn't know what you've said, then she doesn't know how to respond, because then you would have another opportunity to respond to what she says. So that's a lot of words to say. We're not going forward today. So what that means is that there would need to be service upon Ms. Granzo of those additional documents. Probably just best to take all the documents that you filed and just have those reserved, and then have it noted up for a particular docket. Usually, it's a kind of a 2-week time frame that we all work off of. So if you, Ms. Granzo, so do you have any questions about that?
My only question is so with the restraining order part, what does that entail? Because up until the 20th, we were all doing just fine. Like the girls, and I'll be able to respond more to his side of what he's saying when we come back for the matter.
Yeah, so the February 12th order, the temporary restraining order, says the following, that there's going to be a hearing today. And the temporary order involves 2 children that are ages 10 and 7. And there are no restraints other than that there's a restraint on Ms. Granzo to not take the children out of the state of Washington, and that the existing order of October 21st of 2022 is in effect. So so the 2022 order, let me pull that up, December 21st.
States I'm allowed no contact or anything with my kids at all.
So that order from October 21st of 2022 says Ms. Carranza shall be the primary custodian for Bethany and Annie Ruby. Mr. Ruby shall not have visitation with his children until 1, he provides a clean hair follicle test to the court and the guardian ad litem, and 2, he petitions the court for supervised visitation. So that was
I currently have custody of both the girls.
Say again?
He doesn't have custody.
Well, Ms. Granzo, hold on a second. I need to hear what he had to say, and then you can respond.
I have custody of both the girls. I have a paper from Bethany's school right now. I haven't gone to Anna's yet. But I currently have both the girls enrolled in school.
Okay.
Like they're with me. They're not even with her.
But they do not live with him. One lives with him and the other one lives with his sister.
So, Ms. Granzo, if you could hold off just 1 second, and I'll let you know when it's your turn. So, Mr. Ruby, so there was that October 22, 2022 order that states that. Has there been other orders since that time?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay.
But like I said, I do have custody of both the girls.
Okay.
No.
My sister has one of them because Anna doesn't like all the promotion. I have 5 of the kids in my house. So she does better with my sister, but she's still with us.
Okay.
Right.
So the question was raised. So what is the temporary restraint? The temporary restraint, I just reviewed that so the parties can look at it yourselves from I
have a copy of it.
Okay. So that's the order that's in effect now.
Okay.
So service still needs to be effectuated with all those documents that you filed, Mr. Ruby. So if you're, I'm making an assumption that you want to move forward with your motion, have it heard.
Yes.
So you'll need to get the full documents served to Ms. Granzo and give her an opportunity to respond. And then we could come back here on the 13th of March and address the issues.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
How does that work because both my kids don't want to go home.
Mhm.
Like I have voice messages last night from Bethany calling her mom, telling her she's just done with her because of all the stuff that's been going on.
So your question is,
Oh
so your
my
question
God.
is, what do we do between now and the 13th?
Yes, because neither one of them want to go back home. to her.
Okay. Right.
I'm not gonna make neither one of them come back home. The girls, Bethany got a hold of me, and excuse me, Honor, but my kids got a hold of me on the 19th of January, stating they did not want to come home. And at that point in time, I okayed them staying with their dad, staying with their aunt. I was okay with this, and then on the 20th, I got served with the restraining order, and everything was fine prior to this. So I'm confused where all this comes into play. I'm just wondering, am I able to talk to my kids? Am I able to see them? That's
She
what
called
I.
you last night and you didn't answer.
So the only restraint that I see in the order that was signed, let me pull it up here again, just a second.
Okay, she had every opportunity to call the kids anytime she needs to. She's not blocked on anything and she doesn't.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, so the restraint provisions just prohibit Ms. Granzo from taking the children out of Washington State, and that both parties must not move, take, hide, or damage, or borrow against, or sell, or try to sell, or get rid of any property. That's the only other restraint that's in place currently. So between now and then, there's no specific orders other than that October 2022 order. And so the parties, you can kind of just do your best to make sure that the children are safe and well taken care of, and you can figure that out. And when we come here on the 13th, we'll have a full hearing and the court will make this.
Can I ask one quick question before we
Sure.
is Amy Turnbull still a part of this case? The guardian ad litem.
Ms. Turnbull, are you on the line today?
I am, Your Honor.
Are you still a part of the case?
I don't recall if I've been discharged or not.
I was just looking at, it looks like there was an order appointing guardian ad litem back in September of 2022. And other than that, I don't see any later in time documents. Let me see what the order says as far as discharge of the GAL. So the order, it says the appointment ends when the GAL and will be discharged by the court if the final parenting plan is signed by the court, parenting is decided or other, and nothing is indicated. So there's no indication of when the appointment ends. So my indication, I think at this time, it looks like Ms. Turnbull is still assigned to the case, probably hasn't been active in the case for a long time.
It's
correct.
been a little while.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
No, that is it.
Okay. Okay, so we will come back on March 13th. Mr. Ruby, make sure you quickly get those documents served to Ms. Granzo, pardon me. And then Ms. Granzo, if you have a responsive response, please get those filed and serve copies on Mr. Ruby.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll see everybody on March 13th. All right, thanks. Let's next, if we could please call the Marcus Ruby and Samantha Granzo Carranza matters. All right, looks like Marcus Ruby, you're here. All right, Mr. Ruby's present in the courtroom. And then I'll ask if Samantha Granzo Carranza is on the line. All right, not hearing a response. I thought I saw earlier today there was a message via Zoom making a request related to that. And I saw the name Granzo Carranza because it's a kind of a unique name. Did you see that pop up on the screen?
I have not, but I talked to her yesterday because I served her that paperwork
Okay,
and
so
she said she was gonna be here.
okay, so it looks like there's a meeting chat there. What does it say? Okay, so yeah, there is a chat message there. It says, can we set the Ruby v. Granzo Carranza as I just received the rest of the paperwork yesterday. So she's making a request, but I'm not sure where she's at now. Ms. Granzo Carranza, are you on the line? Let me check with you. So there's no response. So Mr. Ruby, do you know if she was served with all the documents?
Yeah, my friend Christina handed them all to her yesterday.
Okay. And has your friend filled out?
Yeah, I turned that in this morning.
Okay. Do you have a copy of it?
I do not.
So what happens with those documents? It would be a beautiful world if you turned it in and it goes right into the scanner.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way. There's some processing time involved.
Okay.
And so according to my file, I don't see it. Hasn't been uploaded, right?
Yeah, no, I just put it in there right before I keep it here.
Okay. Okay. So without that showing of that she's been served with that, oh, looks like she's coming in now. There she is. All right, so she's in the process of joining, still in the process of joining. Okay, next matter is the Marcus Ruby and Samantha Carranza matter. Miss Carranza, are you on the line? Is Samantha Carranza on the line? If you are, please unmute and state your name. She's in the call right now, but it looks like she's muted, so we can't hear you. Just for the record, I'll note that Ms. Looney's here representing the state. All right, Ms. Granzo, if you can hear me, I see that you're there. I see that you're unmuted, but I can't hear you. So we saw your chat message that you're making a request to set the matter over. And you said because you had just received the rest of the paperwork, I think you said yesterday. So I wish you I wish we could hear you because I really don't know what your position is. So let me touch base. So yeah, go ahead, Mr. Ruby.
She's wanting to come to like between me and her an agreement. And I'm not wanting to do that. Every time we do that, it goes nowhere. We've been through this process multiple times in the past. And I'm just not doing it no more.
Your Honor, I'm here.
Never that way.
Okay. All right. So Ms. Granzo, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I just joined in, and the last half of what I just joined in, I'm really confused because I was just served with the rest of the court paperwork yesterday, and had asked him if he was willing to sit down and talk over this, and he said yeah, but he was going to ask today for it to be set over. So I'm really confused.
Okay. So so it looks like you received the documents yesterday, and that comports with what Mr. Ruby had indicated, that there's just a recent service of the documents. So with you just receiving the documents, there'll need to be an opportunity for you to respond to Mr. Ruby's position. So I think we probably just need to set this over 2 weeks to the 27th. That'll allow you time, Ms. Granzo, to file your response, Mr. Ruby to get it, and he can respond if you'd like.
I have an additional court date on the 27th.
Okay.
Is there any way we can do it
a different day?
Yes, sir.
Sure. So this is your. So in the case, Mr. Ruby and Ms. Granzo, you can chime in on this. Is there a temporary restraining order in place currently?
Yes. Well, there is. It's just some
No,
things aren't
currently active. There is not, because when he tried to put the restraining order on me about a year ago, he no-showed the court. Okay. So the judge striked the matter. So currently there's no active restraining order, temporary restraining order.
So notwithstanding the certainty of Ms. Granzo's position, there is a temporary restraining order in place. And the reason I say that is that, pull it up here. So on February 13th, there was a immediate restraining order that was obtained via ex parte. And then on the 28th of February, that order was reissued until today's date. So it is still in effect. So with a request to set the matter over to allow everybody to see what the other side's position is, I'm going to reissue that protection order.
Okay, so with that being said, I asked about that when we set this over last time, and the only thing it said that I was not allowed to take my kids out of Washington State. So what is the temporary order for anyway? Because I've seen both of my children in the last 2 weeks. I've been to Marcus's house to see Bethany. There's been communication. So in regards to the temporary order, what am I allowed to do and what am I not allowed to do? Because I've been.
Did you receive a copy of the temporary order, Ms. Granzo?
What I received from Klamath PD was a temporary order ex parte, but the ex parte was crossed out, and that's what I tried to clarify last time, and was told that I'm just not allowed to take my kids out of Washington State.
So you can refer to
I'm
the
really,
order, and the
I'm just,
order is self-explanatory what the restraints are. Restraints are fairly limited in
the-
that it says,
yeah,
under paragraph 12, it says the petitioner and respondent must not take the children out of Washington State. The existing order of 10/21/2022 is in effect. There's an indication that there must not be a moving, taking, hiding, damaging, borrowing against, selling, or trying to sell, getting rid of any property. That's what the restraint is. So
okay, so then am I allowed phone calls? Like that's compared to how all the other
the
orders have been.
October 21st, 2022 orders in effect. That's what's
Okay,
that's
so
what
then there's no
controls.
clarification as to what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do.
So you can refer to the
I
order
have
for any
referred to the
specific,
order.
and that will answer your question. Did you have a question for me, Ms. Granzo?
Nope,
Don't be
not at all.
impatient with me. I'm trying to assist you.
I
So
understand
just
that, but
Ms. Granzo, hold on.
no,
Ms. Granzo, did you just say the F word?
I apologize, sorry. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
So Ms. Granzo, I'll just remind you that you're in a court of law, and that's completely inappropriate and impermissible. And if you do that again, you could be held in contempt. Ms. Granzo, are you still on the line, or did you chicken out and leave? Okay. We please make sure that the record reflects that Ms. Carranza expressed profanity within the court hearing. She was warned of it, whether she heard it or not, I'm not sure. And that she exited. Sarah Tepperson. Thanks. So I'm reissuing that temporary order. We're setting the matter over to April 3rd at 9 o'clock in the morning. And Ms. Looney, you're here. Let me just hear from you if you have any additional information.
No, nothing further to add, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So we'll be back here on that date. And then Ms. Granzo will have an opportunity to respond to your pleadings and requests, and we'll see you on April 3rd at 9 a.m.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks.
All right, I'd like to go back to the Ruby and Carranza matter. I'm just pulling the case up. I'm just pulling the case up. So we're here to address a few things. The court previously issued a temporary restraining order. We're here to address whether that should continue. And we're also looking at, looks like there was a motion for mediation. We had service of these, and then the motion for a family temporary, or a temporary family law order. These are Mr. Ruby's motions. Ms. Carranza, I haven't seen any response in the file.
I have yet to respond, Your Honor. I got a little frustrated, and when looking over paperwork that was served to me, my kids have been in my care since he returned them back. Hannah came back home right out a week before her birthday last year. So July, the end of July. Bethany came home the end of the school year last year. Both of my girls were enrolled in Klamath Elementary in my care. The only reason they're not with me is on March 13th.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to stop you because you need to file
I understand.
I can't address you just bringing things up kind of during the course of the hearing. So we were last here on March 13th when Ms. Carranza apparently was on Zoom and asked for a set over via chat. Apparently she'd been served the day before, ended up having some technical issues, but was able to attend the hearing. Ms. Carranza got frustrated with the process and apparently left the hearing and expressed some things during the hearing that the court didn't appreciate. So the court reissued a temporary order. So what's in front of the court today is the request for the temporary order. I don't have any response from you, Ms. Carranza. Are you going to respond to this, or
Yes,
when would you do that?
I can have it in by Friday. We've got a lot of other things going on. I have 2 other young children at home. I start school on the 8th. It's a process, and
And are the children currently with you?
My oldest.
Wait a
daughter is
minute.
with me. My youngest daughter is with my sister because that's where she wanted to go. And my sister lives like 6 blocks away from me. She's currently at my house right now from break. I see her all the time. But that's just where my youngest daughter chose she wanted to go, because I have 6 other kids in my house and she likes being a lot of time with my sister.
I'm going to put this over for 2 weeks. I am going to I'm going to reissue the temporary restraining order. Leave that in effect until the next hearing.
Your Honor, is it okay to ask what grounds for the restraining order and if it's not able to be answered, I understand it, but I just don't understand.
Well, I'm going to refer you to the court file and the pleadings that have been filed with the court. I don't have the right form here on the bench, but I am going to extend the immediate restraining order that was signed by the court on February 13th to our next hearing on April 17th. I'm also going to appoint a guardian ad litem.
Amy Turnbull should already be on the case.
Who is the guardian ad litem?
Amy Turnbull.
And do you know how long she's been involved in the case?
The entire time.
Okay, so wait just a minute. So if Ms. Turnbull filed a report back in 2022, has she been reappointed since you filed them?
Yes, so I just talked to her before our last court date. Not the one before this one.
Your Honor, I may be able to help clarify that. I'm not sure why Ms. Turnbull's not present, but that was discussed at the last hearing. The order appointing her did not have any parameters for her discharge, so she had remained appointed. And so I don't know if the issue of her payment has been addressed moving forward. So that may be why she's not here today, but she is still active on the case.
Okay, I will, the court will reach out to Ms. Turnbull and make sure that we have a current order that addresses compensation for her. And then I'll need the parties back here on April 17th at 9 o'clock. Ms. Carranza, if you don't file a response by this Friday, what's going to happen is that Mr. Ruby's request is just going to be granted, because we're now at a point where we were here in mid-March and it was explained you needed to do that. If you're going to do it, you need to do it by Friday. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. So we'll see the parties back on the 17th.
Next matter I have is Marcus Ruby and Samantha Gronzo, cause number 2235808. Mr. Ruby is in the courtroom with us this morning. Welcome, Mr. Ruby.
How's it going?
And I'll ask if Ms. Gronzo Carranza is on the line. Samantha Gronzo Carranza, if you're on the line, please unmute and state your name. I'm going to take a look at the Zoom call listing of participants. Okay, I'm not seeing indication that she's there, and there's nobody in the waiting room nor seeking to be admitted. And Ms. Looney is here representing the state. This is a motion related to a variety of temporary orders, transfer of mediation, the case to mediation, and restraining orders, the like. And we were here last, how long ago was it? A couple?
2 weeks ago, and
2 weeks
then
ago?
2 weeks prior to that.
Right, right. So we've been here a couple of times, and I'm just going to pull up in my notes here to confirm when we were here last 2 weeks ago, both parties were here.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ruby is here, Ms. Gronzo was here, and we set the matter over to today.
Yes, she was here 2 weeks ago on the 3rd too, and the judge, I don't remember his name, told her she didn't have the paperwork turned in for her response on Friday,
Mhm.
that it was just gonna go my way.
Right. Have you had any contact with Ms. Gronzo?
None. She knows where I live. She
Okay.
could have mailed me anything, gotten a hold of the kids at any time, nothing.
Okay. And then, Ms. Looney, have you had any contact with Ms. Gronzo related to today's hearing?
No, we have not, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And then let me just double check with Ms. Looney first, if I may. Ms. Looney, as far as your input on the pending motions, do you have any input on them?
None directly, Your Honor. Seeing as Judge Warning did state that he would be granting the motions if Ms. Gronzo failed to file a response and appear, the state would just be requesting, if custody is changing today, that a short bench order be entered that states that Mr. Ruby's child support obligation would be ending today. Also, we're not sure if he's still requesting to go toward mediation, but we would ask that child support be reserved for mediation, and the state would be handling the order on that as well. Excuse me.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So double checking with you, Mr. Ruby. Ms. Looney indicated that, you know, if custody has changed, then your obligation to pay any child support would end today.
Yeah.
Any disagreement with that?
Nope.
Didn't think so. And then as far as mediation, if the court grants the motion to move the case, transfer the case to mediation, the state wants to be involved on that and just preserve on child support. So that could be a topic of conversation.
That's fine.
Okay. And so, okay, I'm just looking over my notes here, a couple different things. So the February 13th, I just need to pull up again the February 13th restraining order, make sure that's clear in my mind
Okay.
of what that is and who's the restrained party. So it restrains Ms. Gronzo.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. Okay, so I'll grant the motion. I'm not sure where Ms. Gronzo is. She had an opportunity to file documents between 2 weeks ago and here. Nothing's been filed, and there's been apparently no contact between her and Ms. Looney and Mr. Ruby. So I'll grant the motion and designate Mr. Ruby as the primary custodial parent. And that if I'll award Ms. Gronzo two hours per week of professionally supervised visitation
Okay.
on a temporary basis. And because of the change of custody, today ends any child support obligation. It ends today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any way I can add that we do like UAs before she sees the kids? Because that's the main reason they wanted to come live with me, is they were tired of their mom doing that stuff and them seeing it all the time.
Right. Yeah, that's a good topic to talk about. So what I was thinking, and we can maybe just kind of work this out, is that if it's a professionally supervised visitation specialist,
Okay.
they don't allow people that are high to interact or move forward with any visits. So if she shows up high to a visit or they suspect that she's high, they're not going to let it happen.
Okay.
So I think that provides the safety for the children. Are you comfortable with that?
Yep.
Okay. I do want to do one thing related to a family court investigator. I want to get a little more detail and information about what's going on with the kids.
Okay.
And the family court investigator, her name's Jen Schaefer, or Jennifer Schaefer.
Okay.
So she would be, I would appoint her. There's no cost to any party.
Okay.
She would prepare kind of a quick report, do an initial investigation, and be back here in roughly 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Just to make sure everything, if we set up the parenting plan like we've set it up, where it's very limited visitation, she can give us a little input about how things are going with you and the kids and the like. So if you feel comfortable with that, okay. So let's do that. So I'm just going to make a
Your
quick.
Honor.
Yes, Ms. Looney.
I apologize, Your Honor. When we were here last, it was noted that Ms. Turnbull was still appointed as the guardian ad litem.
Oh,
Her order appointing did not have any stipulation for when she would be discharged. And I don't know that the issue of her payment for continuing on the case had been resolved. I did bring that up, and Judge Warning did state he was going to reach out regarding that. I don't see her here today, so I don't know if that's been resolved. But I'm not sure if she would need to continue on the case. She had been appointed previously and provided a report.
Thank you for that reminder. I appreciate that. I recall that she was appointed. I'm going to take a look at the order appointing back in, looks like September of 2022. As far as termination, appointment ends, it's blank. So it looks like she's still appointed at this point. So I guess I was premature in talking about a family court investigator with Jen Schaefer. So I'm going to retract that. Ms. Turnbull is still on the case. So I think what would be appropriate is just to set it over 6 weeks and have her just give a brief report of how she thinks things are going at this point. So let's take a look at the calendar. Today being 17th, May 29th would be roughly 6 weeks. So we'll set it over to May 29th at 9 o'clock for a review, just a GAL review, just to give us an update to see how things are going. And then as far as Ms. Looney, as far as termination, ending of the child support obligation, is that a document that is that a form document, or is that something that I could just do a simple bench order and end the obligation?
A simple bench order should suffice, Your Honor, just so that it goes to the registry and DCS is made aware.
Okay, so I'll prepare that bench order that terminates Mr. Ruby's child support obligation as of today, April 24th of 2000, or pardon me, April 17th of 2024. And then I think that's it. Those are the two things I'll be doing. Do you have any questions, Mr. Ruby?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Looney?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Thanks for being here.
you.
That'll conclude, Darren. Thanks.
Okay, so that'll go to the 12th. And let me see here. There's one other matter here with Ms. Looney involved, looks like, which is the Ruby and Granzo matter. I believe this is only on for review for a guardian ad litem.
Yes, Your Honor, and I am substantially completed with my report, but not finished. And I don't know if Mr. Ruby is here or not today. But I would request a little bit more time so that I can get that report completed and served on everybody.
Okay, and I don't see him listed here. He's present in the courtroom here. So I did notice you filed a motion for additional time. Has anybody addressed that you're aware of?
No.
For Ms. Turnbull.
No, I don't believe they have.
Okay, it looks like that was done in April. Well, no, it was filed May 1st. I think, is Judge Evans handling all those? Do you know? So you're just asking for 15 additional hours authorization?
Yes, please.
Okay, that I'm fine with that. I don't have an order, I don't think, on that because that wasn't noted on for today. But if you want to submit an order that send it to my
Okay.
attention, I'll go ahead and approve that.
Okay, it may have been included with that motion, but yes, I will submit that.
Yeah, I just have, all I have in the file is the motion, and it doesn't appear
Okay.
to be, it wasn't noted for today. I saw that when I was looking through the file for today.
Okay,
How
thank
much
you.
time, how much additional time do you think you need to get that done?
The report, let me see what I put in at this point. Heck. Forgive me. It's gonna take me just a minute here. I think that 15 hours is more than enough. Right now I have 7.5 hours put into the case, and I don't think it's probably going to take me more than another 3 hours.
Okay, so how much time do you need as far as getting to?
Oh, that's what you mean. Pardon me.
I'm looking for a date.
Sorry.
2 weeks or longer?
Yeah, if we could do 3 weeks, that would be great. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so let's put that on for the 19th. That's a holiday apparently. So how about the 25th?
That would work for me. Thank you, Your Honor.
June 25th at 26th. My mouse is in the way. So we'll come back at June 26th for review of the guardian ad litem report. You should have a copy of that, sir, by that time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, there's matters noted on two separate cause numbers, but it's Ruby and Granzo Carranza. The state may need to be involved in number 6 on the docket, depending on the outcome of today's hearing. So if I could ask for numbers 3 and 6 to be called.
Okay. This involves Marcus Ruby and Samantha Granzo Carranza. The cause number is 223-5808 and 223-2108. Looks like both parties are in the courtroom. So we have Mr. Ruby's here. You're Mr. Ruby, correct? Yes, all right, very good. And you're Ms. Granzo Carranza.
Correct.
Okay, very good. All right. Also, we have Ms. Turnbull, who's the guardian ad litem. Ms. Turnbull, are you on the line today?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So in reviewing the case in preparation for today, I reviewed a guardian ad litem report that was, I believe it was emailed yesterday, well, earlier this week. And I just wanted to confirm with Mr. Ruby, did you get a copy of it? Okay, he did. And then Ms. Granzo, did you get a copy of it?
I got it yesterday via email.
Okay, I think that's when I got it too, was yesterday. So, you know, there's a lot of information in that report related to the 3, Bethany Ann, is it Livea?
Correct.
Livea, okay. And so I don't know if you've had enough time to read and digest that, or if you're in a position where you feel like you could move forward with the hearing today, or if you need more
Your Honor, I
time.
was actually thinking about maybe asking for a continuance because I have a lot of things that I'm new to this part, and with the case with Bethany and Anna, I've been really poor on my attendance and how I've handled that case.
Mhm.
Now we have a new case with our 3rd child, and there's 2 separate cases. I would like to know if there's a way to join the 2 cases, so we don't have 2 separate cases going on. I mean, it's the same 2 parents and there's 3 kids instead of 2. I feel like it would be easier on the court's part as well as our part with only having 1 case number instead of
Sure.
2 case numbers.
Sure.
Again, I do have documentation to turn in regards to some of the allegations that on my part, and I have quite a few different parties that need to be served, and I'm kind of going at this blindsided. I don't have help or anything, so I'm just trying to do right this time. My recovery is my biggest part. My kids come first, but I have to take care of myself, take care of my kids. So my recovery, and then I got my mental health on top of it. So I'm one day at a time is what I'm doing. I've got all my papers and everything for both court cases here from start to finish with Bethany and Anna. Levea's is all right here, but I have documentation from, like I said, there's some allegations that have been that I'm not sure how to word it accurately, but the allegations that have been made against me, I have documentation to turn in to show otherwise.
So you want to be able to respond to those
Exactly.
allegations? Okay. All right, Mr. Ruby, what's your vantage point regarding the guardian ad litem report and moving ahead today or maybe continuing?
I'm all good with it. My only concern is she is missed the last court date she was supposed to be here towards, has made no contacts to any of the kids. She's supposed to be going to do that 2-hour visits twice a week and has had no try to do any of it. So I'm just like,
Okay. What's your position regarding a continuance to allow additional information? You know, for example, the guardian ad litem submitted her report and has information in there. Ms. Carranza wants to respond to that and provide more detail. And
Okay.
are you in a position where you want to provide more detail also?
I'm good with the continuance.
Okay.
Because I was also trying to bring LeVay into our other case as well to make it easier.
Okay, sounds like you're both interested in just having maybe just a one cause number
Yeah.
and having just merging them together. We call that a consolidation order. Ms. Turnbull, do you have any concerns if we were to do a consolidation order?
No, I think that'd be appropriate.
Okay, so what I can do, if it sounds like the parties, I think that'd make life simpler. I just have one cause number. I can draft an order of consolidation, consolidating it into one case. Madam Clerk, do you have any suggestions as far as which case should, as far as cause number should remain? And we can talk later if, but. Oh. Okay, so the 2022 cause number would continue on and the 23 would be subsumed. Okay, let me just write that down here so I don't forget that. Family law. Oh, I see. And so they're both now 3s. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Ms. Carranza, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, Your Honor, in regards to the visitation with my children, there is an active CPS case. But none of the 3 kids are involved in that active CPS case. The active CPS case is in regards to my 4th child, Raina, who's not a party to this case because she has a different father.
Okay,
I've been in contact. I deal with CPS on a daily. Like
Okay.
I have a dependency case going on to get her back, and that's part of the documentation I'd like to submit to you, this
Okay.
court. So it's all being cross-referenced.
Okay.
There's a restraining order or protection order between me and Marcus. So to be able to make contact, to be able to see my 3 kids is impossible.
does sometimes no contact orders will
I
have,
can't even get through to his wife. I mean,
so, so let me finish. Can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
So sometimes no contact orders will have a provision or exception that allows a third party to communicate regarding needs of children or visitation of children. Does that
That
no
third party
contact
was-
order? So let me finish my question.
Sorry, Ron.
Does the no contact order have a provision that allows for that?
Not to my understanding, no. It states that contact can be done with CPS, but I've talked to CPS about it because there's no case with the older 3. They won't supervise the visits.
Okay. So where that no contact order, do you have a cause number for that?
Yeah, it is the cause number that actually. It's 22-3-00058-08. It was received February 20th of 2024.
Okay, let me just pull it up here. And tell me the date again. That was
It was received to the court on February 20th of this year.
February 20th. Okay.
Uh,
Taking a look at the second document. The first document I looked at was signed on February 23rd. It's a temporary family law order. It makes reference to a restraining order. So I just need to find that. I'm assuming it's this document. You by chance, do you have a copy of that document with you, Ms. Carranza? Are you looking at it right now?
Yeah.
What page is, what page does it show that there's, what does the caption say on the top right corner of the front page? Just
Every
go to the right side of that.
immediate restraining order, ex parte, and hearing notice.
Okay.
It
And what's the
was,
date on the top right corner? There's usually a stamp.
it was filed February 13th, 2024 at 9:54 a.m.
Is that a petition or an order? Okay, the clerk was able to give me a little guidance on that.
Okay.
So let me just pull that up here. Okay, so I'm looking at that order. It's dated February 13th, 2024. restrains Samantha Granzo Carranza, protects the two children, Bethany and Anna. The restraints are the following: do not disturb the peace of the protected person or any of the children. Do not, that's it.
Which
there's-
on my part confuses me, because with all our other, at the very beginning of the case, the very first restraining order,
Mhm.
I wasn't allowed no contact, like, at all.
Yeah.
And they were supervised visits, and then, I keep getting told I'm allowed to video chat with my kids, but then that, how am I supposed to video chat if there's a restraining order between me and the other parent? I, 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 I was absent at the last court hearing, and I do apologize for that. I have multiple court cases going on, and my court dates kind of overlapped each other. I thought it was the 18th and the 19th, and it was the 17th and the 18th, so I do apologize for that.
Okay, so the only, and Mr. Ruby, you can chime in also, it shows the only restraint that I show from that February 2024 no contact order is the restraint upon Ms. Granzo Carranza is to not disturb the peace of the protected person or any of the children listed.
Yeah.
That's your understanding?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know if there's any other orders out there, but this particular order, that's the single limitation.
Am I able to, can I ask a clarifying question, since we're not able to communicate outside? And
So when you say that you can't communicate, where does that prohibition?
Well, I was understanding my understanding is there was a restraining order between me and Marcus. I wasn't allowed to have any contact with him at all either.
Is that in a different order?
No, that's just the way I understood this one.
Okay,
And it could be just a misunderstanding on my part from the very beginning of the case to this part.
Okay.
At the very beginning, it wasn't a good situation 2 years ago. And a lot's changed and a lot's happened in the last 2 years.
okay.
So I'm just,
So Mr. Ruby, do you know of any other no contact orders?
There was a restraining order put in place back in 2022 that I believe you put back in effect when she missed the last court date.
Okay,
that was my understanding, which is why I haven't made contact, because I don't want to get in trouble and mess anything up more than I kind of already had.
a lot of moving parts here. So let me just double check to see if I can find any indication as far as any other restraints. And Ms. Turnbull, also, if you have any information that you'd like to share that might be of help, I'd certainly welcome that.
I believe were multiple restraining orders, and so I appreciate there may be some confusion. It may be helpful to clarify at this point what we need to do going forward.
Right.
And also, what the definitions mean. I think, it may not be clear to Ms. Carranza what the definition of disturbing the peace is.
Yeah. So on April 17th, we were here, Mr. Ruby was present, Ms. Carranza was not. And at that point in time, Mr. Ruby was awarded primary custody of the children, and Ms. Carranza was to have professionally supervised visitation 2 times per week for up to 2 hours per visit. And then just to make sure that you're not under the influence, that was the supervisor's role. And then Mr. Ruby's obligation to pay child support was terminated as of the date of the order. And then Ms. Turnbull, the JAL, was directed to investigate and write a report, which she has. So that's kind of where we're at. I haven't thoroughly looked at the cases, because there's 2, to see if there's other restraint orders or no contact orders. So I can't give you any advice on that. Actually, I'm prohibited from giving you advice. So I would just encourage Ms. Carranza to look at very carefully all the cases to see what restraints there are or may be. But the one that you referenced, that February 13th, 2024 restraining order, the order restrains you, and the restraints relate to Bethany and Anna, and you're not to disturb the peace of those children. It's kind of squishy what that means, right? But there's no prohibition from communicating with a fellow parent to discuss visitations. Right now, the visitations have to be professionally supervised 2 times per week. But you could communicate with him or have a third party communicate with him to make those arrangements so that the kids can see you and you can be with them.
Professional supervised visits, like, would that have to be like an agency? Could it be like professional? I think of like an agency, but is there a way to maybe get some? I don't have anything. I'm on the ABD program, so in a sense, I get a form of disability, so that's my only income. Right now, it is just me. I don't have any of my children right now to have, well, I mean, child support, yes, but I mean, there's no kids in the home, so my income is, you know, for paying bills. I mean, I pay my bills and I'm broke.
Right.
So I have no way to pay for a supervisor. With my youngest child, I am granted visitation, and that's what documentation that I'd like to submit to you, to the court, so you guys can see from
Okay.
the CPS side to this side. Is there a way to maybe change it from from professional supervised to like maybe a relative or a family member that Marcus
Yeah.
agreed that he can pick whoever does the visits? I just know I have.
Question. Yes, there is a way. There's a court order from April 17th that says there needs to be professionally supervised visitation. If you want to change that, the way to do that is file a motion with the court, submit a copy to Mr. Ruby, and then he can respond, and then we can have a hearing on it to make a determination. But until that time, until you've submitted the motion and the case has been heard, then that order from April 17th would still be in effect, requiring the supervised visitation. But the means to change it would be a motion to change supervisor or change supervision level. Does that answer your question okay?
Yeah, I just.
Okay. Mr. Ruby, do you have any questions at this point?
No, you don't.
So just to make sure, we have the GAL report, so both parties are interested in providing additional feedback on that. And then there was also Mr. Ruby, it looks like you had filed a motion for a parenting plan, and you had served a bunch of documents to Ms. Granza Carranza, and there's a big long list. There was two things, one item was missing, which was the petition to change the parenting plan. So you'd served all the documents, but I noticed there was one missing.
Okay.
So there's the petition. So review that. And then Ms. Granza Carranza, you had submitted a motion for a parenting plan, but I didn't see a copy of a declaration of service or declaration that you had served Mr. Ruby that. So just wanted to make sure you're aware of that we wouldn't be addressing that today because there has not been service.
Was just talking to the person that served him in regards to that is my bad. I do apologize. So yeah.
Just want to let you know that that's why we're not going to be addressing things further. So at this point, with both parties desirous to submit additional information related to the guardian ad litem investigation and report, generally we allow a 2-week set over. That would allow both parties to submit declarations from your vantage point that would elucidate any issues that are brought forward by the GAL. So if we look at a 2-week time period, today being the 26th, that would set it to July 10th. Would July 10th be a day both of you would be available? Mr. Ruby's available? Sure. While she's checking with that, Ms. Turnbull, are you available on the 10th of July?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
So she's available on July 10th, Ms. Turnbull said.
I'm gonna say it'll work if for some reason because I have another court case going on, and this is what happened back in April with my court case got mixed up together. I'm gonna say yes if for some reason I'm just gonna say yeah. I'll make it work one way or another. I will make it work.
Okay. All right. So we will set the matter over for review of the guardian ad litem report with additional input from both parties. That'll be on Wednesday, July 10th, 9 o'clock in the morning. Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, in regards to the professional supervised visits, I do have a PCAP worker, and she's a mandated reporter. Is that an option for her to maybe supervise my visits?
So my understanding with a professional supervisor is that they're paid for their services.
Uh-huh.
And there's a particular training that they've undergone.
I have for my youngest, I actually have a visit with her today at 1 o'clock. That's why I was saying, I understand.
So in response to your specific response to your question, I don't know. What I'm concerned about is that there's a professional there supervising the visits, that they will intervene if they need to. They'll take notes, they'll be aware, they'll notify the court of anything that's untoward. And good also.
No, I'm very aware of how the visit specialist works.
Okay. So that's where we're at. So I think we'll be back in 2 weeks.
I say, we're also in contact with the CPS workers as well. I can talk to her and see if there's maybe something they can do, because that's, I believe, where she's supposed to have her visits with them at.
Yeah, the idea is that the desire is not to prevent visits from happening. The desire is to make sure that everything's on the up and up and the children are safe. So if Mr. Ruby feels comfortable with a professional supervisor, being a PCAP worker, he could certainly chat with her. And if he feels comfortable, that's great. Otherwise, I think it needs to be a professional supervisor who that's what they do for basically a living. That's their employ.
Okay, I'll talk to my visit specialist that monitors my visits with my youngest.
Okay, so we'll be back July 10th. Make sure when you do submit your information, your declarations related to the GAL report, that you submit it with the court and also submit a copy to each other,
Okay.
and to the guardian ad litem.
One quick clarification in regards to the stuff for Livea. Since the cases are being combined, we still have do we have to serve the state as well when we file?
Good question. Ms. Looney, do you have an input on that?
Yes, Your Honor, we would need to be served.
Okay.
We will need to have information on the parenting plan so that we know what we may need to do regarding child support.
Yeah, it's a good clarifying question. Thank you. All right, I think that'll conclude things for today. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.